Top it off is not done by you or any man. It's not something physical. You should be extremely happy for that, especially guys. Really happy because the new thing is a new way of looking, the new perspective. The New Testament is not based on something physical that you and I do to get salvation, to get righteousness, to become one of God. Thank you so much. No, it is a spiritual thing. It's a spiritual procedure. Can you turn your NIV on chapter 2, verse 11, and we'll read that because it's also very beautiful the way it says it. Colossians 2:11. Read as many translations as you can, and you'll find out it's really refreshing and enlightening to see the different points of translators and things clarified. You know, if something is questionable or sort of sound like this way, but maybe taken the other, before you make the conclusion, read a dozen translations on it. All kinds of things will pop up. All kinds of things will pop up. For instance, the word flesh, which I'm going to deal with in a minute. You know, the word flesh, English word flesh, is used to represent several different things, such as flesh could be a soft tissue in your body, and that's one aspect. You know, so often we talk the flesh, we think like, also the flesh could be bone of my bone, kinship. It could be relating, flesh of my flesh. So he's my kin. So that kind of thing. Or like Apostle Paul used it here, the body of the flesh, the Amplified elaborates on it right away. What is this aspect of the word flesh? It's the whole corrupt carnal nature. Was it the other day we read about the flesh being the entire nature of man, humanly speaking, without the help of the Spirit.
Wow.
Anything that is not with the Spirit involved in it is the flesh, meaning human effort, human thinking, human stuff, that could also be the flesh. It's something natural, something humanly speaking, they can say, but the King James will always say flesh on all these counts. But really, it's many different, a human intellect could be called the flesh by King James, let's say, while other translation will say, So, and then you can study for yourself, and you realize in so many places, lexicons are better than even dictionary, because the lexicon will put an example of particular verses, what's used such way, used that way. So, but if you want to get a broad perspective, just get as many translations as possible you can carry in your little backpack and just study it, read through. Or software nowadays, that's even easier. So it says here in the may I get yours? Where is it? 11. Okay, it says here, in him you were also circumcised, not in putting off of the sinful nature, in the putting off of the sinful nature, not a circumcision done by the hands of man, but with the circumcision done by Christ. So ultimately, Christ accomplished the so-called spiritual circumcision, or the circumcision of the heart, Christ. However, in Romans says that is accomplished or implemented by the Spirit. So we have these two, again, Christ himself tackles physically that circumcision issue, but the Spirit makes it real to us, implements it into our hearts. He did it, but he uses preaching of the word, or someone who has a revelation of it, like I do, and like you do. If you're hearing it, what happens? Faith comes. Even if you don't have faith right at this point for this, no problem. I do. You can use mine. Faith is usable. It's not mine, really. I own it because I got it. I want it. I have it. But it's His. It's His faith. That's the substance of God. So if I got it, you can get it. And how does it transfer? Hearing
The word of God.
the sound of faith. Yeah, I can tell you the same thing without faith, and you can tell that I don't really believe it. But when I believe something, when you believe something, there's a sound to your voice that testifies to the listening ear. That guy believes it. That guy believes it. And that's what the world is waiting to hear. They can read it for themselves, but they don't have faith. They don't believe it. But the world needs someone that would believe it. And one day say it, life comes in. Because the sound of the voice, because the sound of faith, life comes. Life. Whoa! And so you should expect that to happen through you. Don't wait for the full meal deal, so to speak, until you've read the whole thing and graduated seminaries and stuff. Just the little you believe, speak it out.
Yeah.
I recommend that for every young believer.
Yeah.
The little you believe, one verse, two verses, whatever, speak it out to some believing ear, some listening ear that would want to agree with you. Speak it. Once you speak it, it'll come out of your mouth. It'll activate not only someone who will get to be encouraged by it, but also encourage you too, because the sound of faith will hit you again. Kind of like a seed that is fully potent, ready to become a plant, but no water, dormant. There's nothing. You can just, whatever, the seed is just sit there. But pour water on it, before you know it, why? Because water activates something that is put in the seed waiting for water. Once the water hits it, activates it. Same as this. You got it, the seed and the word is already in. As you became born again, the seed of God came in. But it takes the water of the Spirit, the water, the word, but the word spoken by someone who believes it. That's the living, it's like pouring water onto your seed. And all of a sudden start to germinate. You begin, whoa, that's right. It awakens,
Yeah.
Something wakes up inside you. Yeah. And that's why it's so vital for you to continuously do that. In the school, to start with. Talk to each other, Talk to those who like to listen to you, and find and speak it to them. Let them speak something else to you, and it becomes like watering plants to each other. And there's so much water available from within you here, without even the speakers to be pouring. You could do so much watering to each other that it will. So when a speaker comes in a class, it's kind of like, whoa, what do you guys need me to teach? You guys got so much alive. And not that we can learn a lot, and we get more to learn. However, we're alive to what we know. We are pouring it out. We are using it, and we're ready for more. Given it shall be given. The more you give of what, the more faith comes, the more revelations come, powerful things come. Shabbat.
Yeah.
So, back to this specific thing. The reason we stuck to the word, because the word is very clear, very, very, very specific, and no wiggle room. So we want to continuously back, because we tend to drift, so we got to continuously step on the word. So back to this thing. In him you are also circumcised, but not that old kind, right? It's not done by hands, but what is it? It's the putting off of the sinful nature. The NIV doesn't say flesh. Why? Because they realize that you say flesh, sometimes you think it's a muscle or something. It's not a muscle. It's not a skin. It's not. It's a different kind of thing. It's a spiritual circumcision, not done by hands, and it's putting off of the sinful nature, of the very nature that made you part of the kingdom of darkness, made you who you were to begin with. Born of the ugly Adam's family. We were one big Halloween.